Sally was upset for several years by her parents' constant fighting and father's heavily drunk behaviors. Sally's acting out was really miserable. She cannot control her behavior and start taking drugs to ease her pain. At this point, it seems like she was crying for help. At the end, she thinks she cannot go on like this anymore and she attempts suicide. Have you ever experienced similar kind of a phenomena that result deterioration of own coping ability, no control over own reaction, and pushed you in greater vulnerability to future stress or danger? You might be on a crisis of your life. You may need help to overcome with this problem before that push you in really dark side. So what is crisis, we may ask? Crisis refers to an acute emotional upset arising from situational, developmental, or social sources that result in a temporary inability to cope by means of one usual problem solving device. A crisis does not last long and is self limiting. So it is an upset in equilibrium at the failure of one's traditional problem solving approach, which result in disorganization, hopelessness, sadness, confusion, and panic. In short, it can also be defined as a subjective reaction to a stressful life experience that affect individuals' ability to cope or function. A common understanding of crisis is that it is an unexpected disaster, for instance, an accident or a catastrophe or any other such a traumatic event, but actually the range of crisis varies in terms of its intensity. Crisis can be broadly categorized into three types: developmental crisis, existential crisis, and situational crisis, transitional or developmental crisis. These are the developmental and growth related crises which occur through different periods of our lives. The developmental crisis thus can happen at infancy, early childhood, preschool, school age, adolescence, young adulthood, middle adulthood, and maturity. For example, changing schools, divorce, becoming physically disabled. Existential crisis. The existential crisis refer to the matters concerning deeper questions like purpose of life spiritually and direction. Situational crisis. The situational crisis include the crises which are unexpected and sudden, for example, accidents, experiencing a crime, mugging mothers, or attempt murder.
The reaction of an individual from the crisis depends upon a multiple internal and external factors, and it is highly subjective. For instance, the severity of the event, the kind of help and support available around the individual after the event, the personal traits, ability to cope, resilience level, and the experience of dealing with such events. The impact of crisis can be felt on an individual's mental, physical, and behavioral responses. So, what should we look for? What are the signs of crisis? These are some of the signs of crisis. Physical changes, for example, a considerable change in weight. Impact on performance at school, office, hobby, or sports. Confusion, reduced memory, drastic change in sleeping habits, lack of personal hygiene, sudden mood swings, while the professionals are best suited to offer support in more complex crisis situations. Sometimes a small gesture of care or support can help yield a major impact towards a recovery process. With little awareness and positive support from the social circles, we can actually help our near and dear one to better cope up with the crisis situations.